Presented by Listen Headlines, latest world news from trusted sources. Updating daily at 6 a.m. New York.
Washington Post World.
March 15, 5:09 America, New York. Car bomb in Yemen targets security commander, 4 killed. Yemeni officials say at least 4 people were killed by a car bomb Tuesday in a south-central city.
Washington Post World.
March 15, 4:52 America, New York. Zelensky to family of slain U.S. journalist. The people of Ukraine are mourning with you. Brent Renault was fatally shot while reporting on Ukrainian refugees near Kyiv.
Mirror World News.
March 15, 4:45 America, New York. 2 Russian senior soldiers killed in Ukraine after general shot dead by sniper. The Putin regime has admitted the deaths of Major Alexei Vorsyuchenko and Sergeant Pavel Bogatyrev from the VDV's 76th Air Assault Division, while maintaining to Russian people that action in Ukraine is not a war.
Mirror World News.
March 15, 4:45 America, New York. Woman who stormed onto Russian TV with anti-war placard goes missing after protest. Marina Ovsinikova, an employee of state-controlled Channel 1, interrupted newsreader Ekaterina Andreeva last night as she was delivering her evening bulletin.
BBC News World.
March 15, 4:38 America, New York. Ukraine war. Zelensky urges Russian troops to surrender. The Ukrainian president says Russians who give themselves up will be treated, as people, decently.
WorldCBSNews.com. March 15, 4:34 America, New York. Frantic rescue effort after Russia hits apartment buildings in Kyiv. At least 2 deaths and multiple rescues were reported even as more talks were slated between the two sides in a war now in its 20th day.
World News. Breaking international news and headlines, Sky News.
March 15, 4:03 America, New York. China faces its biggest COVID challenge since the dark days of Wuhan. China has recorded another steep rise in coronavirus cases as it battles its worst outbreak since the early days of the pandemic in Wuhan. Authorities have repeatedly pledged to lock down any community where 1 or more cases are found.
Mirror World News.
March 15, 3:39 America, New York. Russia says army has taken full control of city of 300,000 and surrounding region. The Russian military claims to have taken control of the Kherson region in the south of Ukraine, which includes port town Kakhovka and river port Nova Kakhovka. World News. Breaking international news and headlines, Sky News.
March 15, 3:25 America, New York. Putin trying to justify Ukraine invasion by holding faux elections, minister warns. Vladimir Putin is attempting some form of legitimacy in Ukraine by holding faux elections to justify his invasion, the Foreign Office minister warned.
Washington Post World.
March 15, 3:08 America, New York. Indian court upholds ban on Muslim headscarf in classrooms in Karnataka state amid accusations of Islamophobia. The case had sparked widespread protests and accusations of Islamophobia in India amid deepening religious tensions.
New York Times World News.
March 15, 3:02 America, New York. Inside the high-stakes race to test the COVID tests. Researchers in Atlanta have helped the federal government evaluate dozens of COVID tests and pioneer a new model for developing novel diagnostics.
Fox World News.
March 15, 2:37 America, New York. Russia duped Europe into energy dependence by funding rabid environmental groups, experts. European leaders have accused Russia of funding environmental groups to steer nations away from energy independence and strengthen Russia's iron grip over the continent.
Time. March 15, 2:34 America, New York. Gunman shoots 5 homeless men, killing 2, in targeted attacks in New York and Washington, police say. New York. The mayors of New York City and Washington, D.C. appealed to the public for help Monday in an urgent search for a gunman who has been stalking homeless men asleep on their streets, killing at least 2 people and wounding 3 others in less than 2 weeks.
New York Times World News.
March 15, 2:19 America, New York. Indian court upholds ban on hijabs in schools. One school's initial ban set off unrest and violence that spread to other schools in the southern state of Karnataka. Hijab-wearing students arriving for classes, in February as a police officer stood guard outside a government school in the town of Udupi in the southern state of Karnataka, India.
New York Times World News.
March 15, 219 America, New York. Indian court upholds ban on hijabs in schools. One school's initial ban set off unrest and violence that spread to other schools in the southern state of Karnataka. Hijab-wearing students arriving for classes, in February as a police officer stood guard outside a government school in the town of Udupi in the southern state of Karnataka, India. BBC News World. March 15. 2 o'clock America, New York, Ukraine war. One shell that destroyed a family. A woman recounts the moment her husband and son were killed by a Russian shell in the town of Irpin.
RT World News.
March 15. 1:59 America, New York. CIA prisoner was used as torture prop to teach recruits declassified documents. Ammar al-Baluchi reportedly suffered from brain damage as a result of his treatment. The U.S. Central Intelligence Agency used a detainee in Afghanistan as a prop to teach interrogators how to torture prisoners, leaving the man with brain damage, newly declassified documents have revealed.
BBC News World. March 15. 1:55 America, New York. Kashmir Files. Vivek Agnihotri's film exposes India's new fault lines. A film on the exodus of Kashmiri Hindus in the 1990s has divided opinions in a polarized country.
RT World News.
March 15. 1:32 America, New York, U.S. China react to India's missile launch into Pakistan. Washington sees the incident as nothing more than an accident, while Beijing urges for dialogue to avoid future mishaps.
Fox World News.
March 15. 0:59 America, New York. Zelensky predicts victory in Ukraine, offers Russian soldiers a chance to survive. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky predicted victory over Russian President Vladimir Putin's forces in Ukraine Tuesday and offered Russian troops a chance to survive by surrendering.
World News. Breaking international news and headlines, Sky News.
March 15. 0:53 America, New York. Zelensky makes life or death surrender ultimatum to soldiers, but is upbeat on peace talks progress. Ukraine's president has said latest peace talks appear to have gone well, as he issued Russian soldiers a life or death ultimatum and urged them to surrender. A Ukrainian serviceman in Mariupol, a convoy of 160 cars has finally managed to leave the besieged city.